More with the Women in Public Safety podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss everyday challenges and everyday issues relating to those of us who work in public safety and human services. I am your host and creator, Harriet Westmore. And before I get into today's topic, which is episode 6, I want everybody to hit that like and subscribe button and please share the video for those who work in public safety or any type of human services where you are working and committing yourself to serve the public. Um, Sharing is caring. So, with that being said, let's go on into today's topic. I wanted to talk about the risk that we as public safety and human services worker encounter every day. When I say public service or public safety, I'm meaning those of us who work in law enforcement, those of us who work in corrections, in the healthcare field, social services, and fire personnel, paramedics, anybody who works for the community. That's when That's who I'm talking about. And I wanted to kind of talk about the risk that we as public safety workers that we encounter every day and that people really do not realize the things that we have to go through, things that we see that, could possibly risk our safety. And personally, when I leave my house, I may, for those who don't know from my last video, I work in law enforcement. So I have to uh, put on my armor, so to speak, and go out and try to make sure that my community is safe. The everyday risks that we take are more than what people may realize. The potential of a simple approach to someone who are are not stable mentally could cause a a disaster result. I can recall one time. I'm a parole officer, and my partner and I were going to a house for a potential placement. In other words, an offender who is getting ready to come out of prison wanted to be um, placed at a person's residency, whether it's a family or friend or partner or whoever. So, prior for them to be released, we have to make sure that the residence is stable and suitable enough for the offender to reside once he's released. Well, we went to this particular house and we went up to the door and knocked, and this the relationship with the offender, with the host, the person that lives there, I believe it was some cousin or somebody. I can't recall, but it was a cousin. I would say it was a cousin. Well, my partner and I, we knocked on the door and we identified ourselves. They wanted to open the curtain of the door, and we identified ourselves. We are with parole, and we're here to do a resident investigation because so and so is asking to reside at your house, at this resident. The person, I don't know if he didn't realize what we were saying, but he just he just stood there, and then he opened the door, and we noticed right away. I looked, and on his right hand he had a pistol. And again, we identified who we were, and it was my partner's offender that was who she was doing the investigation for. I was her backup. And first thing I noticed, he had a pistol at his side. and he was getting ready to raise the pistol. I'm putting my hand on my firearm, and we're both telling him, put the gun down, put it away. We're just here to do an investigation. It appeared that he was, I don't know if he was sight impaired or what, but he just kept raising the pistol, and we're just telling him, put the pistol down, put the pistol down. You know, we kept identifying ourselves. And then I guess it clicked what we were there for. And he said, "Oh, okay, well, come on in the house." And at that point, that was not going to happen. Um, you know, Once he realized that we were there for his cousin wanted to reside at his residence. But at that point, it was a wrap. We did not want to go into that house. We didn't, because we're not going to, it was already dangerous as it is with him having a pistol right there at his either side. So we just said, never mind. We're going to deny this placement. And he's like, "Are you sure?" No, we can come on in. And at that point, no, we quickly said, "Thank you, but no, we're going to have to deny this placement." So we hurry up and left that house. But that was the one of the risk that, again, that we took, that you have to take every day, because you never know the state of mind of people. And even when you're in the office and you have to encounter and or talk with a offender, or you're, like I say, you're at the hospital and you have to talk with a potential a patient or whatever, they can get real belligerent, and you're putting yourself at risk. They can start biting. So um as social workers, you're going into an environment or a house. You have to make a quick decision. Is it worth you going into a house, to do your job, is checking up on the kids or whatever your part of your social work entails, or you just diffuse the situation and don't even go in that environment. There's plenty of times. I was a caseworker before. I worked in law enforcement, and there was a time, you got to make a quick decision. If there's a bunch of people in the house and you're going by yourself to make a home visit with a family, you know what? I'll come back at another time. I'm not going to put myself in a situation to where I'm going in a house and trying to, do a home visit or whatever. You got all these people at the house, and next thing you know, anything can jump off at any time. So I think, you know, the public who don't really understand what we go through needs to kind of understand the everyday heightened awareness of what we have to encounter. And even if not even as a public safety professional, but even as a common day citizen, with the way things are now, you really have to know your surroundings and have a extra sense of awareness of where you are, and you never know who you might encounter. um, at a whim, you might accidentally, you know, hit someone, or actually ran into someone by mistake. You're trying to get by at a store or something, and you know you accidentally, kind of touch them or whatever, and you say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but then they might go off. You just never know. People are just, like I said, people are so volatile now. And at this point, you can't really, you cannot be more cautious and more aware of what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with, because you just never know. Um, Another aspect of those of us who work in public safety is um, a lot of agencies are dealing with outdated equipment. Um, I know in my agency where I work, we are now required to wear body cams. I know a lot of agencies are now going to that, police departments and things, corrections, they are now wearing body cams. But there are still some agencies out there that don't have body cams. It, you know, it it goes both ways using a body cam. It protects you as the officer or the public safety worker, but it also protects the person that you're dealing with, because it shows exactly in real time what's going on, and you can't really you can't really alter that. What's going on in live real time is what you're seeing. So you know I just wanted to come on and just kind of briefly go over uh, and recognize that there are a lot of unsung heroes. I'm not saying that I'm an unsung hero. I'm just wanting to um, relate with other human service professionals that I know exactly how how you feel and what we have to go through, and I just want the public to be aware that um, these are very serious situations. Now, I do understand, and don't get me wrong, there are some really um, people who uh, take things to an extreme as far as human services or law enforcement, when it didn't have to go that way. And I mean, we've always know the ongoing issue of um, offenders or people getting shot, by the police, and it just didn't warrant that type of reaction. I'm not condoning that by any means. If there was no threat, if the perpetrator or whoever the defendant was in compliant, there's no reason to pull a gun on them. But at the same time, you want to, it's a balance. You don't want to be laxed either, but you know give the person the opportunity to respond to your command. um, and if he's not in a uh, stance or in a position that is causing you potential danger, where you can actually communicate with this person and he's responding to you, then there's no point. What's the point? Why are you shooting this person for no reason? And especially if the person was unarmed. So, don't miss, you know, confuse what I'm saying is about the risk that we take, and the risk that we have to encounter, because it goes both ways. So I'm very cognitive about that. Me as a female, um, if a uh, offender that I deal with that's on my caseload, if he uh, seems to be agitated or whatever, the first thing that we're always trained is to communicate with that person. Try to communicate with that person. Um, there's no need to, go to the next step unless you actually feel threatened. If he's coming at you and he does not, comply with you backing up, you know, stay out of your space, inner space, and they fail to comply, then I have my pepper spray. I can only go so far as pulling my firearm, unless I really, that is the last resort, and that, which means he have to have a firearm on him. But otherwise, I can. There's no harm with me whipping out my pepper spray and just go at it with him. And, with that, um, I would rather, spray somebody than having to, you know, unfortunately use my firearm. But, you know, like I said, we do, encounter in a lot of risk. And with, I really feel that a lot of agents, they have to protect their staff. Um, Walking around here with a nightstick, those days are over with. I mean, I don't know any departments or whatever that still has a stick. They may, but but thinking that that's going to be your weapon when you're going up with someone who is mentally unstable and they actually have a firearm on them, that nightstick is may not be uh, helpful to you in keeping you safe from harm. But I want to hear from you. What challenges or what risk have you encountered um, in your daily day duties in your jobs? You know, I just want to, recognize you and understand and know that you are supported. We have to have that supportive community. So I want to hear from you. Leave a comment if you like to be a part of the podcast and talk about some of the experiences that you have encountered. You can email me at publicsafetybywomen@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment in on YouTube, or DM me, and I will definitely get back with you, and then we can talk about bringing you on again. You don't have to be specific of where you work. Um, just generalize the things that what's your job description, and generalize some of the issues that you deal with every day on your job. So, in closing, I just want everybody to be safe. Um, and at the end of the day, like I always say, the end of the day, the whole goal is to come home the way you left, and that's in whole, safe, alive, and and uh, not traumatized. I mean, that there are different areas, different situations that leaves you traumatized, and I will talk about um, encountering situations that result in having PTSD. And we'll talk about that at a later time on another episode. But be safe, and I definitely want to hear from you. What's your feedback? Give me some feedback of what you think, and what type of other topics that you would like for me to discuss. Um, Leave your comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and share this video to other public safety workers. I salute you. You guys be safe. Take care.